Hello, my name is David Lance. I'm a grandfather of five with a sixth one on the way. And if you're like me, perhaps you've been struggling with a way to think about how to communicate what's going on in Israel with the attack by Hamas to your children and your grandchildren. Well, I've put this video together, and my hope is that you'll be able to use this to help you talk about these issues with your kids and grandkids. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. During World War II, Hitler killed millions of Jews. After the war, the United Nations decided to give the Jews a homeland in Palestine. And so on May 14, 1948, Israel became a country. On October 7th, 2023, Israel was attacked by Hamas. Now, in the Bible, God promised the Israelites to bring them up out of the affliction of Egypt to the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. You can read about that in Exodus chapter 3, verse 17. But when the Jews came to their new country in 1948, it was mostly desert. They set to work to change it back into the land that God said it would be, a land flowing with milk and honey. And so Israel has managed to do the impossible and turn a barren desert into lush farmland. Now, there are some Arab countries that are envious of Israel's success in transitioning from the desert to a farmland, and that's one of the other issues that's going on behind the scenes in all of this. There are four major groups that are associated with the Palestinians. Hamas, which controls Gaza, attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023, killing about 1,400 Jews and foreign visitors. Hezbollah is in Lebanon to Israel's north and has been mostly shooting missiles into Israel. The Houthis are in Yemen, south of Saudi Arabia, and have tried to shoot missiles across Saudi Arabia into Israel. Saudi Arabia, which has been battling the Houthis in the south, shot down many of those missiles. Now, all three of these terrorist groups have been funded by Iran, and you can see all of this in the two maps that I've put together. There's a fourth group called Fatah, which is officially neutral, at least as of now. They are in the West Bank, which is on the western side of Jordan, right beside the city of Jerusalem. And there is a large settlement of Palestinians in that area. The West Bank, which in the Old Testament was Judah and Samaria, is governed by Israel today. For now, as I said, they are not involved in the attacks against Israel. And I'm making this recording, by the way, on the 20th of November, 2023. Do you remember the story of Esther in the Old Testament in the Bible? You see, Persia ruled the land, including Israel. And in fact, over here, where we see the cities of Tyre and Sidon, just a little south of that is where Israel was back in those times. Now, King Xerxes wanted a new queen, and he searched the land and chose a Jewish girl by the name of Hadassah. We know her as Esther. She let no one know that she was a Jew. Now, there was an advisor to the king named Haman, who hated the Jews. Centuries earlier, his people had fought the Israelites in a war and lost. He had a plan to have all the Jews killed. Now, King Xerxes honored Haman, son of Hamathiah, the Agagite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. Now, you can read about that in the book of Esther. But Mordecai, who was a cousin of Esther, would not kneel down or pay him honor. And so when Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged, and Haman looked for a way to destroy all of Mordecai's people, the Jews. Then Haman said to King Xerxes, "There is a certain people dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. Their customs are different from those of all the other people, and they do not obey the king's laws. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administrators for the royal treasury." So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. In the movie One Night with the King, there is a scene where Haman proposes killing the Jews. Let's take a moment to watch it.
Allies are unwilling, my lord, but they have not fared well. A storm has robbed the Phoenicians of a good part of their fleet. Carthage finds herself short in timber with which to complete our warships.
Surely the fate of the Empire does not hinge on money.
Are you ready to furnish it, then?
No, not I, my lord. But I am aware of traitors within our borders that could.
The Jews? We are not children.
Nevertheless, the money may be raised by the confiscation of Jewish wealth and property.
And the Jews will just hand it over without a fight?
No, of course not. First, we must kill them all. Every last one of them. It is the only way to ensure they do not rise up and seek revenge.
He speaks of women and children, my lord.
Yes, women and children. I know. What is your solution? Or would you rather, my dear Memucan, the Greeks and the Jews unite, and hand in hand murder us in our beds while we sleep?
Is the past so mighty that we must destroy our brothers to be free of its grasp? No kingdom was ever so grand as the Jews' own King Solomon. He fought not one battle, toiled through not one war, but prospered upon the peace handed down by his father. Do not make void what your own father's death has purchased by picking back up the
Mind
sword.
your tone, General.
Why thirst you for warfare when we can drink so deeply of peace?
You speak of peace. Let us speak of the Jews. They would rather bow down to their own God than obey the laws of protocol. Their prophets even speak of a coming king. A king who will reign over all kings and set all men free. Is that not the very essence of democracy, my dear Memucan? I do believe, under your guidance, we are undone.
If we are undone from within, indeed. March upon Greece if you wish, but you march with no general in your lead.
In the Bible, there comes a time when Esther must choose to either reveal to the king, her husband, that she is a Jew, and that Haman's plan would also mean her death, or disobey the Persian law about not speaking to the king unless first spoken to, and risk the penalty of death which the Persian law required. Knowing that Esther was struggling with her decision about what to do, her uncle Mordecai sent her this message, which is recorded in Esther chapter 4, verses 12 to 14. When Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer: "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this." Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: "Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day, and I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." These are trying times. Some in America are siding with Hamas, but most Americans are supporting and praying for Israel. A rally was held to support Israel in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, November the 14th. Let's watch this brief report by Fox News.
In our nation's capital one day after, look at that, nearly 300,000 people peacefully rallied against anti-Semitism and for the safe return of the 200-plus hostages.
Like Esther and Daniel, we must decide if we will live by faith or cower in fear. I hope this video has helped you think about how to talk about this topic with your children and or grandchildren. My name is David Lance. Thank you for your time. May God bless you and your family.